Hi, welcome back. We are on episode 48.
Episode 48, yes.
Yes.
So this is what in the Bible has been told by, I think, Matthew, when he talks about the 40 days and 40 nights that Yeshua spent in the desert. So, of course, Matthew was not there, but he felt compelled, like he has to say something about it. Right? And it didn't take 40 days, and things are not exactly happening the way it has been described in the Bible. But we're going to give you the memories of nature, what happened at that time. So Yeshua used different terms to describe the entity he was facing. He used the term of opposite, he used the term inverse, and he also used the term diversion. Okay? But he never talks about evil.
Right.
Okay? So this is not something which is even mentioned. In the previous episode too, our audience may remember that Yeshua had been performing some big miracles. There was the feeding of the bread and the fish,
Right.
for 500 people, and then the resurrection of a young man that they saw near the village of Naim. Right. So this has been bringing a lot of people around Yeshua, to the point where he's actually exhausted, and he knows that he has to take some time off for himself before moving to the next phase of his life.
Yeah, he needs to re-energize.
Right. And for him, he decided to go away and fast and pray and meditate for almost a month. Okay. Yeah, and that's what it is. Yeah. And to avoid meeting anybody, he's going to leave his place during the night. So dawn is not even there when Yeshua leaves,
Right.
And he needed to retire from everything for about 40 days, between 30 and 40 days. And it was important for him not to meet anybody on the path, on the way, because he was trying to avoid a request, which for the most part
my big toe hurts.
Are not essential. Exactly. Right. My big toe hurts, or I'm constipated, right. Whatever. So with him are Miriam, his wife, Tade and Thomas, who are two of his brothers. Okay. And they are living with him, and they were selected because of their calm and soft temper.
Yeah, he just needed people.
He needed cool people and calm people around him. Yeah.
Right.
And the intent was to fast in a very strict way, and we're going to see what it does, and link again with the Christic energy that has taken the control of Yeshua's body and personality for about 4 years ago. So I would say at this point he's probably 34, 35 years old. Yeah. And he was feeling an absolute need to resume this dialogue between the Christic energy and his soul and body, as a man. So again, being by yourself in the desert is probably a good thing to do.
Right.
And the perfect location for the retreat are the mountains which are overlooking Jericho. We saw those mountains before. We talked about them with John the Baptist, Yohanan. And those mountains have a lot of cliffs, and inside the cliffs, and we have some pictures showing them,
right.
There are cavities and grottos in the rock, and usually hermits are living in those cavities and grottos, for a long duration. And so Yeshua decides, okay, this is probably a good place to go. So he's not really going into the desert. Okay, he's not led by the Holy Spirit in the desert, like the Bible is saying. He's simply staying in a cell for a certain duration of time.
Okay.
And it's nighttime. And as always, Yeshua has an immense pleasure at walking in the dark. And he's trying actually to guess the path, and later on, he's contemplating the sun rising and the dawn coming. So for him, it's a source of strength and energy. As our audience may recall, he has been traveling by himself for many, many years, most of his life, right? Going to India, going to the Himalayas. So he's not afraid to be in a few, dirt
uncomfortable
roads.
places.
Yeah, and exactly,
right?
yeah.
Mhm.
A few dirt roads of Palestine are not going to do anything to him.
Right.
And to his left, the Yarad River is bubbling, and that is also very touching for Yeshua. And he's forced to recognize, after all these miracles and after all this teaching, that his physical body is very tired, but also his consciousness is clinging and facing a permanent and constant blinding due to the Christic energy inside him.
Okay.
So he needs to take a break from that.
Right. It's a lot of energy burning
Yeah.
through his body, right?
And so that Christic energy inside him is actually feeding him, but at the same time draining his life force. So it's a very surprising and interesting contradiction.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, think about our physical body. It
Yes.
wasn't really meant to handle that much
Well,
energy coming through, right?
I'm glad you say that, because Yeshua says, after all, I only have the body of a human being.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I will be showing a map again, showing the distance between the lake and Jericho. And of course, the journey lasts multiple days. And fortunately, Brother Tade found a donkey to help Miriam. So Miriam is not walking, she's riding the donkey.
It's a long way to go.
And during the trip, there is a large brown dog, which is joining the group.
Why not?
Yeah. And Yeshua actually loves to see this, the dog, and it's very simple and young soul. And that's how he described it.
Yeah.
It was an additional member to the family. Yeah. And when he's revisiting these moments, in the Akashic memories, Yeshua realized that how much people were surprised by his love for animals. Yeah.
I don't know why he would be. I mean,
well, the idea that an animal could have a soul was completely foreign to the Hebraic culture.
I was just wondering why people would think that was kind of.
And there was a lot of lengthy argumentation about the subject, because the human souls at that point were not liberated from the bestiality that encouraged them to sacrifice everything, which is
they don't want to think that it has a soul, because it'd be very hard to do.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And we know that the Hebraic tradition, was sacrificing a lot of goats and a lot of sheep, for all their sins, right?
Right. Yeah. Paying a lot of money to get that.
Yeah.
That.
So again, that these are the words of Yeshua, he thinks that so many humans are so close to the reptile and the wild beast or the plant at that point, and he knows that those words will not touch them because they have no ears to listen. But he loves the animals. Yeah. And so he's trying to change the light in the world, in order for everybody to breathe it, to breathe something new, to breathe a new energy. Yeah. And that's what he's really doing. Yeah. And finally, they arrive in Jericho, and they're going to install their tent near a little oasis, at the foothills of the cliffs. And they're going to spend the night there. And that night, in his light body, Yeshua is actually visiting the mountains. He's trying to find a suitable cell for his retreat. It's like checking his the
little
place.
Bubble, find where's the right place for me.
And in the morning, when he shows one of the cells to Miriam, and he said, "Look, Miriam, it is up there to the left. Do you see that hole in the rock?"
She's thinking, "Oh my gosh."
And he goes, "It is very small, but I will be happy there to pray."
Yeah.
There are a few steps, ladders made with ropes. There is a little bridge and a few more ladders, and that's it. And seeing that, Thomas, his brother, says, "I will go with you. It is too dangerous. I will carry the water and the dates." And at that point, Miriam is offended. She said, "No, I will go." She's the wife, and she's going to help Yeshua do that. And the climbing is actually very dangerous for a woman and even for a man. But Yeshua agrees. It was important for Miriam and her pride as a Miriam and his wife.
Right.
And also, Yeshua knows that it was a good exercise for Miriam, who would later on in her life have to be a leader one day.
By herself.
So he knows what will happen to her and what will happen to him, pretty much. So.
Right.
And so the rule was that every 5 days, Miriam would climb to that little cell on the cliffs, and bring mostly water and a few dates. So Miriam and Yeshua are loaded with water gourds and 10 dates. 10 are starting, and they are starting the perilous climbing to the cell, and the heat is intense, and Miriam is suffering. And at one point she says, "You can go ahead, Rabboni. I'm not afraid," although her voice is trembling. And Yeshua responds, I know you're not afraid. He's probably trying to calm her.
Yeah.
And during the ascent to the cavity in the cliff, they pass near an enormous beehive, which is loaded with honey. And again, that's a little detail, but which it is very important for Yeshua, because he sees that life is buzzing,
Right.
And he's marvel at the sight of that hive, and probably the smell of the honey. And
Right. The buzzing.
And so after a long ascension, they finally reach the chosen cell, and Yeshua finds it smaller than what he had seen in his light body. So,
he already visited there.
So in the physical, it wasn't exactly not as great and grandiose as it thought it was when he saw it in the astral plane. There was actually just enough space to lay down on the ground. And on the ground, there was still an old rug of wool and fabric completely torn apart, probably used by another hermit before him,
Right.
But he was happy to have arrived in his new home. It was perfect. There was a view on the oasis all the way down, and the palm trees. And the heat of the sun was warming up the mountains. And then there was the immensity of the sky, because he's
up high.
He's up high, yeah.
Nice view.
And it was pure happiness for Yeshua. So for a long time, Yeshua and Miriam are going to face each other, sitting in silence. And Yeshua hears what she's thinking, and Miriam knows why Yeshua was here. So I say there is nothing to exchange with words,
right? Yeah,
and voice, right?
Just the knowing,
a
little information
exactly
passing back and forth.
The communication is already there on a different level. And Yeshua says, sometimes the silence can be the best dialogue. And the language of the silence is one of the virtues of the awakened people. They know how to communicate like that. And finally, Miriam is going to leave, and she goes down to the oasis where Taddy and Thomas, would watch over her. And again, down there is also the donkey and the dog.
Oh, okay.
And so Yeshua is going to sit against the wall of rocks, and he's going to start some breathing exercise. And this is interesting because I think for the first time, the author and Yeshua are giving us detailed information about those breathing exercises.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So all his being is requesting this breathing, and it was necessary for Yeshua to prepare his body for the invasion of the soul and then of the spirit, right? And it was also necessary to disconnect from the terrestrial timeline and open up to Awun, his God. And so without waiting, he's going to open up the door of Brahma Randra and sending a call to the divine. So the door of Brahma Randra is actually the 8th chakra, which is located above our head, probably about 10 or 12 inches above our head. Yeah. And nobody should be surprised, because even if the divine is permeating the reality of Yeshua, every human being remains a deepless ocean, right? It is always possible to go deeper in oneself, to rise higher into the infinite. Yeah, it's not because you've reached the level of avatar like Yeshua that it's all done.
You're finished.
There is no end to it.
Right.
So the essence of the divine is infinite, right? And we have to really understand that. And at this point, Yeshua is going to fill up his lungs with air, and he's going to obturate all his senses. And the way he does it is by, using his fingers and his hands. So his thumbs are used to plug his ears. So he's putting his thumbs in his ears. The indexes are on the eyelids.
Okay.
Middle finger is closing the nostrils.
Okay.
And the remaining two fingers are used to hold the upper and lower lips. Right. So, your lungs are full, but you're trying to keep that air inside you while obturating, and closing down all your senses.
Wow. Okay.
And on top of that, the eyes have to point toward the base of the nose. So, it's typical.
Kind of like the third eye.
The third eye between the eyebrows. So you concentrate and focus on that. And Yeshua is going to stay like that until the need to exhale comes. He then relaxes the middle fingers and let the nostrils, free to exhale and then inhale again. But all the other senses are
still closed.
Still closed, yeah. And it's going to do this exercise again and again, over in full consciousness and love, while he's raising a flame inside his skull all the way to the door of Brahma. Okay, so you have also to picture that flame burning inside your head in the middle of your skull,
right,
all the way to the 8th chakra, while doing the breathing and all the stuff with the fingers. Yeah, and then we'll do a pause and pray, and then the breathing technique is done again. He's going to do it for hours and hours. He's by himself for 5 days.
Yeah,
right. He has water and a little bit of food for 5 days, and nobody is going to interrupt him for 5 days. So
that's nice.
Yeah. So it's nice, especially for him, who is a very public figure and constantly, answering requests and demands. And so the night has now fallen, and Yeshua is thirsty. In appearance, nothing seems to have occurred in the peace where Yeshua is now bathing. However, in the most intimate of his being, some space of his incarnated reality are stretching much more than usual. Okay, so the feeling is this one is that each one of Yeshua's bodies are disassociating one from the other.
Oh,
okay. So you can feel that his etheric body, astral body, mental body, monad body, and buddhic and so forth, are basically disassociating one from the other. And the energetical links between those bodies are being stretched. Okay. And this incredible feeling is going to continue for a while, to the point that Yeshua realized that he's no longer on the ground.
Oh.
He's levitating.
Okay.
He's in his cell.
Yeah.
In the traditional yogic posture.
Right.
But now he's levitating. His body and his legs crossed are levitating as if he's sitting on a pillow of light. And the feeling of weightedness, is completely gone. And there was no need for him to open the eyes. He knew what was taking place, And suddenly, something strange is going to happen. Yeshua feels his stomach close and his diaphragm locks, and he cannot breathe anymore. It's like stuck. His mouth is opening spontaneously, and he stays in that state, out of space, out of time, levitating, until an enormous energy comes out of his chest. And this is incredible, unbelievable shock. And the body of Yeshua falls brutally on the remains of the old carpet. So when that energy comes out,
the Christic energy was coming out.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he.
Yeah. And then he landed brutally on the ground, And a brutal nausea, right? Nauseous, yeah. Submerge him, and he starts crying like a baby. A torrent of tears run out of his eyes. And he's feeling like an orphan, It is horrible.
He's been abandoned.
The sensation of abandonment is tremendous. Yeah. It's like, you have removed, you've been detached from your mother,
Right.
And this is when, little by little, he realized that the Christic energy has abandoned him for a while, for a little while. Yeah. Yeah. But through the night, little by little, he realized that the peace is coming back, and this horrible sensation of abandonment, and despair is waning away. So, and again, I'd like to understand that what happened is that the Christic energy that had come in him in the pyramid and during the baptism in the Yarak River, had left him. And so the energy was still around, but no longer in his flesh. And I think that was intentional so that Yeshua could get back into his ego and his mind and be a man, a master for sure, but still a man,
Right.
no longer driven by that extraterrestrial Christic energy, right, coming from the suns. And it was the answer to Yeshua's request to regain and repair his body. Because, how can you repair your body when you have this flame, this fire burning inside you, which is at the same time consuming your life force, So that's why. So for a moment, Yeshua is even joyful, relieved in the same way a person suffering from a scorching heat, could suddenly dive into a cold water, or fresh water. But it was a very short-lived feeling, almost a weakness for Yeshua to think about that, because his role is to host the Christic energy.
Right.
So you cannot be too happy about that energy leaving you. And he's going to start praying and repeating some mantras again, hoping that it would be powerful to get the Christic energy back in his body. But already in the small cell in the rocks, it's becoming obscure and he's alone. And the quest of perfection that Yeshua always have toward himself is showing the other side. And I think that's what we are going to talk about now,
Right.
It's the other side of his personality. So
you think it's like the ego,
maybe it's some unresolved, but let's get into the details. Yeah, but it's definitely not the devil.
Right. Yeah.
It has nothing to do with that. Yeah. So his commitment and dedication, we know, is complete, is total, right? Nothing was to come against them. And so there is a voice that he hears at that point, and the voice says, "It is already done, my brother." And in front of Yeshua, there is a dark form which is appearing, watching him in the darkness of the cell. And Yeshua can see that form even with his eyes closed. Yeah. So you know that this form is not in the three-dimensional world, right?
You see seeing it in the mind's eye.
Exactly, yeah. And Yeshua goes, "Who are you? Name yourself." And there is no response, just silence. And just the noise of some very small night insects chirping, someone doing a little noise. And then Yeshua says again, "Where did you see a weakness in me? Tell me." And the voice responds to him, "I'm predicting it. The seed is in the ground." And Yeshua goes, "Who are you to predict?" And again, no response. And always that insect with a little noise,
A little buzzing.
A little buzzing, yeah. And Yeshua goes, "Thus, you're afraid to name yourself." And the voice says, "Afraid? Let's say that I am your brother." And Yeshua goes, "Like many others then?" And the voice says, "No, absolutely not. Not like others." And Yeshua is trying to find some reassurance. He says, "We all have the same Father." And the voice says, "Oh, I know that, but I am your twin on the other side of the universe."
Okay.
See? So this is again bringing up another dimension. Right.
Yeah. And the communication that you potentially do have. And
so hearing that, Yeshua understands in his heart and mind what is going on. And he goes, "You're wrong. The one that you name your twin is not in me right now." And the voice goes, "Oh, that I know. But since your mask is identified to him, Sananda, it is to this mask that I am talking. It is the same thing." And Yeshua goes, "No, it is not the same thing." And the voice goes, you're right. It is not exactly the same thing. It is better. And Yeshua is wondering, better? Why? And the voice goes, yes, better, because the one I am addressing right now can decide for himself. He can live through himself. And so Yeshua is starting to understand the rules of the dark mass, And he goes, do you think I do not guess who you are? And the voice says, I am irritating you, isn't it? I'm irritating you because my vision is clear, where you try to invent a reason which has no meaning. And the voice goes, 10 dry dates for 5 days? Is it our Father that asks you this? Strange compassion from his side, right? Would it not take from you more than he gives you by any chance?
Wow, he is taunting him.
No. Do not tell me that you never wonder about this. And at that point, Yeshua is silent. He's listening without responding. The ruse is unfolding. It's nasty and cruel, It's a real trap in rhetoric. And finally, after a little while, Yeshua says, what is the reason for you to tell me all this? And the voice responds, for which reason? But to wake you up. Can't you see the depths of your illusion? Of your slumber? More than 33 years to tell yourself fables? Get out of your enslavement, my brother. And the paramukta that makes you a master of everything, are you not the one who conquered it? 10 dates for 5 days. It is stupid. And this is how you intend regaining your strength?
Oh, he's really taunting him.
You're teaching it. You're teaching it. Protect your body, my friends. It is a temple. Come on. Dare manifest a few breads, some few fish, and why not a little bit of wine?
Grilled fish, yeah.
Use your divinity to do it. Again, Yeshua is capable of manifesting everything he wants out of the ether.
But I think he's trying to do something different right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at that point, Yeshua hears a big laugh, a borborygmus, and he does not want to argue. It is so viscous for him. To eat, he did not need to eat. Nothing of that matter would nourish his body or replenish the forces that he needed, at that point. What he was searching for, what Yeshua is searching for, is the light that hides in the air that we breathe, and we call that the prana. Right? It was the silence where the song of the universe could be heard. This is all Yeshua wanted, and mostly not an argument with
whoever that is. I came here to be by myself. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, for sure, Yeshua was only a man with himself, at this point, because again, the Christic energy is no longer with him, right? But this man knew himself and had his own will. And Yeshua says, go away, go and never come back, You pretend to be my twin, but you know nothing about me. And at that moment, the light noise and the shadow disappears, leaving a dark track in the obscurity of the grotto. And so Yeshua is happy, He falls asleep, and he was not afraid of this shadow. He had already lived so much in his life. This is not something. He's also an exorcist. I mean, he knows a lot of stuff.
Right.
This is not gonna impress him.
He's gonna exercise this thing.
Right? Yeah. So 4 more days are gonna pass again. And he could not really understand what exactly happened. And the more he was thinking about the darkness, the more he was feeding it. So it was not something to do too much,
Right.
And this is a good lesson for us too,
right?
Right. We don't want to focus too much on the darkness,
right?
Because we are feeding it.
We're feeding it, yeah.
And Yeshua also knew, the louche, Yeshua also knew that the Christic energy that had taken the control of his body and personality also had an inverted side in the negative universe. It is the same for all things and all forces, And again, it's not because it's Christic energy and it's because it's coming to help humankind to move to another level that it doesn't have a counterpart on the other side, right? And I think we have to keep that in mind every time. However, this inverse, this other side, obviously, had its own definition of the light, and its sharp teachings were quick to find a flaw and penetrate Yeshua,
It was its job to do that.
Yeah. And multiple times during these 4 days, Yeshua is going to visit and review his inner personality and his body. He's trying to find out, okay, what is it exactly which is still stored inside me, which is causing me to have this kind of interaction.
Distortion.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's going through organ by organ, function by function of his body, and lives by lives. As much as he can, he's reviewing everything, And by inviting the Christic energy to leave his body, Yeshua has actually allowed his soul to go through a very deep review and scrutiny, It was a very subtle ordeal to do. And even here, alone and on the edge of a cliff, Yeshua was wondering if he would ever find some rest.
I know, he was going to rest, but it looks like he's getting beat up.
Exactly, yeah. I guess,
oh my gosh.
Some people never find any rest yet.
Yeah.
So through his prayers and through his meditations, his questioning his questioning is actually stopped by itself, He was not fighting. And he knows that Sananda, who is his cosmic soul name, right? On Shambhala, through the incarnation of Yeshua, had nothing to prove, since he was already power and renunciation. But again, after studying the personality of Yeshua, I would say that there is too much renunciation inside him. And that's probably why that diversion or opposite or is trying to tempt him. And bring something to his awareness. Yeah. Sure. Yeshua is way too humble and has renounced to too many things.
He is very humble.
Yeah. So while repeating a mantra, Yeshua that noticed that all his physical ailments are gone. Yeah. It was good to simply have to breathe, and not teach and talk. Right? Just to be here, present, between the ground and the sky, right? In the morning of the 6th day, Miriam comes to bring some water and 10 other dates, right? Because he uses basically 2 dates per day, right?
Wow. And that's what he was getting a hard time with.
Yes.
You're only going to have 2 a day?
Yeah. So her visit is very quick and full of respect, And while she was going down the rope ladder, basically her head was only visible, she goes, "Do you still love me, Rabuni?" And without waiting for an answer, she disappears, on the ladder.
Just goes down.
So Yeshua doesn't have the time to respond. But that question is hurting Yeshua deeply. Basically, it was showing that Miriam had not yet completely integrated the role that was offered to her. She was not Yeshua's spouse in the traditional sense, but the beloved, the woman who had nothing in order to receive everything. Yeah, she's the divine cup, right? And Yeshua did not love Miriam like a husband loves his wife, but like the spirit that gives his memory and his mission to the forming matter, the matrix. So after a while, Yeshua is going to resume his meditations and pranayama exercises, and again the time stops. He speaks to his father, and he realized that the illusory aspect of his approach to the divine. I mean, you speak to the father, but why call him a father when in fact he is nobody? When there is no name, the human mind is lost, right? We have to have some kind of name.
Yeah, we do.
And anchors, in different places. Otherwise,
be able to visualize.
Right, yeah. And during that time, his soul is getting closer to his destiny, and he's wondering, what is my destiny? What is it? Some people have written that Yeshua knew all the details of his destiny. No, it's wrong. It's false. I mean, how could they say that?
Right.
They're not even in the mind of Yeshua.
Right.
Right. It is not true. And even if Yeshua was taken into vision of the future, there was always an invisible line that could not be crossed. So the people who said, oh, he knew he would be crucified. No, he didn't know that. I mean, he knew that he had committed completely, to an incarnation which was very, very challenging.
Right.
But he didn't know all the details. And the reason why he didn't know, because this is the warranty of your freedom and free will.
Right.
Right?
That's
because
true.
if you know everything that you're supposed to do, where is your free will?
Right.
It does not exist.
It's very boring fast.
Yes. So again, Yeshua is aware of a divine plan put in place, which is way above his head since the beginning of times of that present cycle. And the kingdom, which is presented by Yeshua, is resting and is built on the physical world, contrary to the scriptures and the Bible, which have tried to present it in a disincarnated, evaporated, and material-less place, right?
Yeah.
They tell you, oh yeah, you have to do this and you have to say the words and you will be fine forever. No. So the goal again with what Yeshua is coming to do is that all matters could be turned into divine, and Christic Energy was there to make it happen. And of course, after a few hours, the presence of dispersion, the inversion, is coming back to taunt him,
Of course.
And it came during the day this time, and not at night. It came as a challenge to the sun and the light, And Yeshua is thinking, perhaps the inversion is enjoying the sunshine.
Good, a positive spin on that.
You're right. And so the inversion starts, be blessed, my brother, my twin.
Oh, geez.
And Yeshua goes, ooh, in which name do you pretend to bless? And the inversion says, in the name of the one that reigns since the beginning of this world. And Yeshua goes, oh, if it's only of this world, I have no interest, because this world will pass. And the inversion says, oh, you think I am darkness, right? Perhaps you're simply blind, not to realize what is taking place around you. You speak of joy, you speak of happiness and beauty as a legacy to come, and you don't even look at what you have at your fingertips. And Yeshua goes, okay, speak. Tell what you have inside you. Let's get it out. Yeah, exactly. And the inversion continues, Come on, Yeshua. Don't tell me you ignore it. What I want to tell you is very simple. You're skipping the most obvious gift that this world is offering you. Did you count how many women are following you? Did you count how many are listening to you and dreaming about touching your feet?
Oh my gosh, he's taunting them, isn't he?
Soon, there will be more numerous than the men. Don't tell me that you do not like that. And Yeshua says, oh, but they're already more numerous than the men. But in truth, you do not understand that the numbers balance themselves. A lot of women have a male soul, and a lot of men have a female soul. And the inversion continues, oh, you're saying I'm sly, but I see that you're more than I am. Alas, you are illogical. You are relying on women to carry your words, right? So why do you ignore them and deny them what would touch them the most and what would consecrate them as the best messengers?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, why? And so Yeshua can see the shape undulating in front of, between him and the sun. But his eyes are still closed, right?
Right.
What do you have to fear from women? It is your mission which is the most important. And if it goes through them, then just do it. You love the body and the flesh, right? You even learned all their secrets. And Yeshua at that point says, oh, I respect and revere the body and the flesh. Can't you see the difference between them? And the inversion goes, oh, you're playing with the words, Yeshua, but I'm telling you, you're going in the wrong direction. When dealing with the matter, you have to use the ways the matter understands. I know at least 30 women names who are aspiring to know the secrets you hold. They could be your ambassadors. Miriam, she's not enough for you. And then she's not the most beautiful.
Oh my God.
Not the most outspoken.
Wow.
You know it. So at that stage, Yeshua is disgusted by the dialogue. It was the first time it had happened in his life, with perhaps the exception of that Roman killing a second time the mule that he had brought back to life, when he was just a young Yeshua. So he's really, he's controlling his anger, and he's saying, okay, go away. You're wasting your time with me. And at that point, we hear a long sigh, can be heard, and a shiver in the atmosphere of the cell. And Yeshua observes the dark shape disappears,
Thank God.
And at that point, he just needed to drink, perhaps have a date. And again, the days are going to pass by, And at one point, he hears the voice of Miriam, Rabboni. And the voice of Miriam, brings Yeshua back to his life. He has completely lost the sense of time.
He probably doesn't even know what day it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's wondering, was it the third time or the fourth time that she's visiting him? And she says, no, it's the fifth one. It's the fifth time. So basically, he has spent 30 days, right?
Right.
5 times 6, or 5 times 5, 25 days, And Yeshua goes, come, Miriam, I need to talk to you this morning. Never doubt my love for you, Miriam, never. Understand that it is not the love of a man for a woman, that it is different. And in return, it does not require what is normally done between a wife and a husband. Most likely that love will take us way beyond what you can imagine. Can you live and grow with that idea? And Miriam goes, I'm not sure what you mean exactly, my Rabboni. There are too many things, and quite often I wake up with your face in front of my eyes, with the feeling that I will never know you fully. You are at the same time incredibly solid, but also extremely volatile. But it does not matter. I'm no longer the girl you met in the garden of Yosef, and I will do everything to grow with what you expect from me. And at that point, Yeshua is going to kiss Miriam on the eyelids and then on her mouth. And she leaves the cell again, leaving Yeshua alone. And at dusk, Yeshua is going to do something that he hasn't done before. He's going to travel in his light body to Miriam into the small campment, which is at the bottom.
He's getting a little bored in his little cave now. It's like, let me see, what are they doing out there?
And what he sees a fire which has been set near the tent, and he sees all 3 lads, Tade, Thomas, and Miriam. They are joking while eating some chickpeas cooked in the mint. So this is, what they were eating at that time. And it is very comforting for Yeshua to see them like this. He really likes this camaraderie and friendship. I mean, they are like brother and sister, right? And then they started talking about the resurrected young man from Naim, And Thomas says this. He says, can you believe it? With miracles like this one, who could still doubt? He only has to say one word, and the whole country will follow him.
Oh, yeah, if only.
I don't get it. Why doesn't he speak? If the master was at the head of our country, he would be invincible. He always says that you have to sow on earth first. And Miriam, at that point, is offended by what Thomas is saying. She says, be quiet, my brother. You sound like an Iskari, like a zealot.
Mm.
And at that point, Yeshua is going to remove his consciousness from the group.
Come back up.
Yeah. Okay. What I just saw, is
Right.
not exactly what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
And he goes, sees the dog and the donkey, which are both sleeping. But surprisingly, the donkey starts to neigh when
He probably
Yeshua
feels
gets
this energy.
back. Yeah. And at that point, Yeshua decides, okay, I'm going to go back to my body and leave everybody in peace.
Mm-hmm.
And on the way back, he thinks, okay, even Thomas, and how many more like him? A real crowd for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is creating an opening, a flow in his trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
And immediately the shadow is back.
Of course. Yeah.
The
Mm-hmm.
inversion is back.
Mm-hmm.
And the inversion goes, I told you, you're not embracing your chances. You're not on the right mission. And so what we have to understand is the remark about Thomas, had unleashed the dispersion,
Right.
which had snaked between the worlds
Mm-hmm.
and to go back into his consciousness again. And the dark shape was sitting again in front of Yeshua. And Yeshua at that point, smiles about the grotesque setting, And inversion goes, oh, that is amusing, my brother. Huh? It is not that funny. You're avoiding your life.
Mm.
Do you believe that you are given so many powers to do almost nothing? I am in charge of awakening you. Can't you see it? It is so obvious. How many men and women truly understand the meanings of what you try to teach them? The height that you're pulling them behind you simply give them the vertigo. That is all. You dream to give them wings, but they only care about grazing.
Mm.
It is quite clear. You saw it. Even your brother Thomas is asking questions. And this is irritating, Yeshua.
He's really digging in there.
He says, are you done? And the dispersion says, oh, I won't let you go. It is my duty. And Yeshua smiles again, Friend or foe, using the doubt, you're trying to weaken me. But I have no doubt. You're not a friend, but you are not a foe. You are the adversity that plays with forms and actually makes me stronger. Mm. I'm telling you, dispersion, raise challenges, ambushes, and I will vanquish them all. That is your duty. And it was over. The shadowy presence exhaled the cold breath, turned into fog, and disappeared.
I guess he had to confront it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes you have to confront your demons,
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, Yeshua eats a date and some water, and he feels like it has never been better than that. And the days are resuming, becoming total rest for Yeshua's body, finally, And something was telling him that the stones and the minerals from the cave, from the cells where he was, were nourishing his body, actually. So it probably was grounding,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And at that point, Yeshua is going to call back the Christic energy in full trust. And the following morning, the energy re-entered his body with an immense tremor, like a wind, like a torrent of sparks and water. Very brutal, but also very soft at the same time. And at that point, Yeshua realized that his universe is going to change again, So he kisses the ground of the grotto, he collects the gourds, and he starts his descent to the valley. Mm. And on the way down, he's watching the little city of Jericho in the distance. And he realized that town hasn't moved. I need to do something. And he's going to rock it.
Oh, boy. Stay tuned for that.
Yes.
I don't know what's going to happen there.
That will be our next episode in Jericho.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, wonderful.
Yeah, so I think, obviously it's not the devil.
Right.
Although people, it was easy for the church to paint it as a devil.
Of course.
Yeah, because they always want to create this bipolar, duality.
Right.
But universe is not so dual. There is a balance in everything, but there is a lot of gray areas. Yeah.
Right. That's true.
So, I mean, personally, I think it's unresolved issues with the personality of Yeshua and Sananda.
Yeah, he was definitely being challenged.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think he did really well.
Oh, yes. He did very, very well.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.